Well, hi, Grace.
Well, hi, Dad.
This isn't awkward at all.
No, it's not.
Welcome to the Valiant Living podcast.
Thanks. Glad to be here.
I told you before we started recording, I'd love to just check in real quick. I think in a lot of ways it's for my own sake, because I think in these type situations, I can tend to be performative and want to make sure I'm saying and doing the right things. And I think in order for me to be present, maybe it's helpful for you in this interview to just kind of check in, like what we're feeling, and kind of start there.
Yeah.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
Because what we're talking about has a lot of weight to it. We've done a lot of work as a family in the last 3 years, but also I think we would be amiss to not acknowledge that there's some heaviness to it. So you want me to go first? Or
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm definitely, we use a lot of Chip Dodd's 8 core feelings.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a big part of the language of our household. So if I'm using those 8, I definitely have, like, top plate for me is probably some shame. I've had shame come up a lot over the last few days. Some anger, but behind the anger is shame. Definitely have some fear. Gladness. I'm glad to be sitting here with you having this conversation. But yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm feeling right now, with shame being my top plate.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. I think for me right now, feeling some fear. I think that's my top one right now. Also very glad. I think those are like my 2 big feelings that I'm like feeling right now. Some hurt and some sadness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mix of a lot. But I think my top one is fear.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that with me. You ready to dive in?
Yeah.
I don't know how. So I was able to do this with your sister Emery a while back.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't know how many times a dad gets to have a conversation and record it with their daughter about their experience around going to rehab and treatment and getting healthy, and just the effects of that, not just on the addict themselves, but on the whole family system, and also the importance of the family system, or at least in our case of, me getting healthy and going, or at least starting that process. And so anyways, I'm really grateful that you're willing to share your story. And even though Emery did it, it's different, because one thing we learned is that the recovery process and the healing process is different for everybody in the family. Hers, your siblings' situation is different than your situation. So it's not like you work one amends process for the whole family. It's like it's individual. And we might talk about some of that. But before we do, introduce yourself. You're my eldest daughter, in whom I'm well pleased.
Yep. I'm the oldest. My name is Grace. I'm 21 years old. I am a senior at Southeastern University.
Which just blows my mind that you're graduating this year.
I know. It's insane. Yeah, I graduate in the spring.
And you're studying?
And I'm studying multidisciplinary studies with a double major in family ministry.
Let's go.
So, yeah, it's great.
And when we were walking through this crisis as a family, it was the summer of 2022, August. Talk a little bit about where you were in your place of life then, because you were 17. Talk a little bit about that, because it was a huge transition season for you already.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I graduated high school in the spring, and then you went to treatment, I want to say like a week or 2 before my birthday, and my 18th birthday, and moving to Florida, going to Southeastern.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot of change, and like even just moving to Southeastern and moving states, like that in of itself is a lot of change. So I think like you also going to treatment, it was a lot all at once.
What do you remember feeling during that time when you were, here's dad going off to Denver. We were supposed to move you in as a family. We had been looking forward to this for so long. It's our first child, moving in for a freshman year, moving from Tennessee to Florida. It was a big deal. And all of a sudden that is all turned upside down.
Yeah.
So here you are going to Florida, just you and mom. I'm in Denver. We're not even in contact at that point. We're on a kind of I think we were on a like a therapeutic break at that point, right?
Yeah. We weren't talking like hardly at all. I remember we FaceTimed before I left on my birthday, and that was pretty much the only time I talked to you.
Yeah.
And it was a really big deal for me, just wrestling with a lot of disappointment and hurt, because it was literally like a bomb went off in our family, and it was just like, you know how like in movies when it's like their ears are ringing and it's like the bomb goes off and it's like, oh my gosh, where am I? Like everything's in slow motion. Yes. It's like that. Like,
wow.
That's kind of like what that was like for me, of like, I can't like, it's so hard to even like get my bearings right now.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why it was such a big deal, and it was so difficult for me to not like include you on that day. I think that was the first time of me moving in, of like, that was the first time I really like set a boundary with you of like, you're not going to be part of this. And so I really wrestled with that. Like, I remember like just like really struggling the night before moving in with mom in the hotel room of like, just like, this is really hard. And like, because it's like those conflicting feelings of like, you're my dad, I want you to be part of this, but like, I'm feeling so much hurt. And like, it was important for me to make that boundary of like, for me, of like, this, you kind of lost that place in my life at that time to be part of that.
Yeah. Man, I can't even imagine how difficult that has to be to make that call. Cause this is early in treatment for me. Well, let's rewind a little bit back to the intervention that was had for me. The biggest reason why I said I wasn't going to go to treatment was I'm not going to miss Grace's move-in. Like I'll go after that. And in just like looking back on it now, it's so silly, because for me to even think that was an option, for me to think that I'm going to just go to Florida and pretend like we're, one big happy family in the midst of crisis is just absolute insanity. But I remember telling everybody like, hey, I'll consider going, but I'm not going to miss Grace's move-in. I'm not going to miss her 18th birthday, which was both in August. And you had already sent over, well, let's put it this way. Something was read to me in that meeting from you, your words. Could you kind of unpack and kind of describe some of that? Because a big theme of this episode that I want people to hear is how absolutely devastating it is, but how significant it is for people to draw boundaries and use what Michael Deneen calls loving leverage. Yeah. Because I was using every excuse possible to not go. But to hear you say what you said, even during my intervention, was like, oh, wow. It was like some reality was starting to set in. Can you describe a little bit of that? Like because you guys were ready. You guys had already like got out in front of all my potential excuses for why I couldn't go. And we're ready. We're prepared with an answer. Talk about that a little bit. Yeah, it's just kind of funny, like how it all like fell in line, because it's like, I remember like
on that day when mom told us everything that was going on, one of my, like, the first things that I said is, I don't want him at my 18th birthday and I don't want him moving me in.
Wow.
Like, that was like the first time I was like, there, like, he
Foot
can't
down.
have any part of this.
Wow.
And like, and I think there's a reason why, because it's like, well, first of all, I was hurt. I was angry with you. Like, and then also like drawing that boundary of like, you, like, this is not, like, in order to like protect me and not bend to what you want, because I know you wanted to be a part of that, and there's a part of me that wanted you to be part of that too.
Sure.
But it's like, in order to like make sure that I was okay and like putting myself first in that,
Yeah.
I think that was like the big thing for me of like, I'm just trying to protect myself,
Right.
you know?
Right.
But yeah, it was a really difficult thing, but it's also like, I'm kind of glad that it did go down the way it did, because then it got you to treatment, you know?
Well, 100%. Because so I said, I'm not going to miss Grace's move in her 18th birthday. And they read me a text that was from you that basically said, I don't remember exactly what it said, but the gist of it is, I want you to go get help. I want you to go get healthy, go to treatment. It wasn't harsh, but it basically alluded to, I don't want you at these things, or basically like, I would rather you go get help than be at these things.
Yeah.
I mean, it was worded very carefully, but it was like one of those like reality moments for me. I'm like, oh, wow, this is like the BS is over.
Yeah. Because the bottom line was, if you weren't going to go to treatment, there was no way you were going to be part of my life. That's what was going on in my head of like, if he's not willing to like do this for our family and do this for us, then like, why would I let you back into my life again? You
That
know?
makes sense. Yeah. What gave you the courage to draw such a strict and harsh, like not harsh and like not in that way, but like to hold such a boundary, to be like, hey, listen, it's this, or you don't have access to me anymore.
I think part of it was like mom, like a lot of it was just me following her lead.
Okay.
And I think that's true for a lot of the siblings of like, we just didn't know what to do. So we're like just following mom's lead and
Right.
just like talking to her about how I was feeling. Cause I mean, I was hurting and upset, but also I also leaned a lot on Jill.
Okay.
Who was there.
Family therapist
Yeah,
at Valiant.
family.
Shout out to Jill.
Shout out Jill. I remember calling her like the night of moving in, because I remember you were trying to also FaceTime like throughout the day. Like,
Yeah, because
that day.
at that point I wanted to still be a part of your move-in weekend via FaceTime.
Yeah. And I remember like really like leaning on Jill like during that time of like, I don't like feeling guilty that I drew that boundary. And like, she just really like kind of like was a person for me to lean on of like, it's okay that you like don't want him to be there. Like he hurt you. And like, it's okay that like you don't want him to be there.
Right.
You know? And
Right.
I really needed to hear that, I think, because I was just wrestling with like so much like conflicting feelings that it's like, I just needed that reassurance that like, it's okay for you to like draw this boundary, you know, because I'd never really done it before, you know?
Well, we had developed such a pattern of codependency in our family, with me being the center of our worlds, and whatever I wanted was kind of like everyone just kind of went along with what I wanted. And this was like the first time where everyone was like, nope.
Yeah.
That's over. And you guys drew on each other, but like you said, the therapist, and this was around the time where Jill told me something, and I've repeated this a lot, where she said to me, like, Andrew, you smoke people. And basically the reason why they wouldn't let me have, or encourage you guys not to have contact with me, and drew a boundary there, and, or I should say helped you guys draw the boundary, because Valiant doesn't draw the boundary. I mean, they'll advise and whatever, but it's your decision to do this. Because if I would have talked to you guys, or if I would have been a part of that weekend, like in hindsight, I'm so grateful that you drew those boundaries, even though at the time it was hard. And I don't think I was angry. I think I was more sad. Like the weight of my decisions was starting to set in. But in hindsight, I'm like, that was part of the work for me, which was feeling the weight of the trauma and the hurt that I've caused. And at the same time, realizing like me using, you know, and as Jill says, smoking people, using people to feel better. Like a big part of me wanting to be a part of that move-in weekend was I didn't want to feel the guilt and the shame of missing it. So if I could have FaceTimed in, or I still want to be a part of it or interject, then it would have made me feel better about what was going on in my life. But you had to stand up and say, no, wait a minute. He's not going to use me to feel better. He's hurt me. I don't want him to just pop in and out all day long. Like I want to be present at my move-in. I don't want to have to think about this. And I remember the team there saying, hey, they're trying to like go on with their life. Every time you pop in, it reminds them again of the current situation, and you're disrupting their lives. And so you having to say in this scenario, no. That was so good for me in hindsight. Like, hey, it's not about you anymore, big fella. Like, you're not using us anymore. Yeah. That was so important. So you went and did your move-in weekend with Mom. Yeah. And it was great. It really, like, I think not being, kind of like what you were saying of like not being taken away from like FaceTiming you, and like the reminder of like, okay, my dad is all the way in Colorado in treatment. Like it's just like a hard reality to come to terms with too. So I think like being present, and like of course there was still like some sadness there. Well, I think we'll always carry sadness.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like I'll always, you know, sadness is the emotion that comes up when something's lost. Yeah. And we lost that weekend together. And I'll always be sad about that. Yeah. Like I'll never not carry sadness of like, man, I can't get that back. Now, what's also true is because we're doing the work, we're able to actually recover. I mean, you talk about being in recovery, it's recovering what was lost. Yeah. We've been able to recover a lot of things that we wouldn't have had otherwise. So yeah, I did have to miss some important things. You know, that's way better than missing all the rest of the important things for the rest of our lives, you know. But yeah, there's going to be sadness there around that. Yeah. Around that weekend. Do you feel like in some ways, like you're 17 years old, you're about to turn 18 in college. You turn 18 in August that year. Did you feel like it made you kind of like grow up faster, or I don't want to put words in your mouth, but did you feel like there was something also lost just in like the final stages of your childhood, or I don't know, is there something in there for you?
Yeah, I think there definitely is like a part of that of like like an innocence. I think we've kind of like talked about that as a family. Like there's just like this innocence that was lost of like a carefree, like no worries. Like, and I know, like I kind of felt that, especially during move-in, when I just saw families like moving in together, and it was such like a fun and joyous time, especially, or even like seeing my roommate move in and stuff. Like,
because they were our close friends. Yeah. So, I mean, Jackie has been on this podcast before, and they're close friends. It was supposed to be a weekend. Our families all went down together, and here I am not there, you know?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a lot of disappointment with that. And just like being like, dang, like this really sucks that like, this is kind of like more of a sad time for me than it is like a fun time or like a joyous time. And that like missing out on what could have been for us.
Right.
You know?
Right. We'll talk a little bit about that first year of college, first semester. So now you're there, you're the oldest of the family, and you've always carried some, you know, responsibility. You've always been a really great role model and, someone for the siblings to look up to.
Mm-hmm.
The family's going through this crisis, and all of a sudden you're off to Florida.
Yeah.
You're out. I mean, you're down there doing your thing, trying to, be present and immersed in your freshman year of college. When you remember back that first year, what feelings and emotions come up for you? Were you glad to be kind of gone and out of it, or were you carrying like some responsibility of like, I'm leaving the family in the season? Like, I'm curious what was going on for you during that time.
Yeah. I think it was a mix of both, of like, I'm at this new place, no one really knows me, and like no one like knows my story, and it was kind of nice. Like, it was kind of freeing of like, this is like, I can become anyone I want to be,
Right.
like apart from my family and all the crap that's going down,
Right.
But I also think like I love you guys and I love being part of this family. And so it was really, really difficult leaving whenever our family was trying to heal and being away, and then coming back home for like short periods of time of like, I get back to the house and I'm like, okay, what's the situation?
Like walking back into the battle zone, or
yes,
kind of, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So it was just like a mix of like, okay, I'm kind of free from this, and I can like figure out like what's going on inside of me, and like I can like just like detach a little bit. But then also like just feeling really sad, like Emery, AJ, and Bentley, and Mom, like they're like still at home, like still struggling, like this really sucks. Like I can't be part of it. And I remember there was a part of me before I even left for school. I talked to Mom and I was like, I really like don't think that I should go to school. Like,
Really? So I didn't know that.
I was like, I don't like, I'll stay here and like I'll just like figure it out and like, and just like stay and like heal with you guys. And she told me, she's like, I think it would be detrimental to you if you don't go to school.
Oh yeah.
And so I'm so grateful that she told me that, because that's kind of what like pushed me over the edge of like, I have to go, in hindsight, like I'm glad that I did, like so glad that I did.
Well, and you mean you met some incredible friends like almost day one, right?
Yeah.
That are still your roommates and friends all the way to this day, and a support system that we're so grateful for. Talk a little bit about that from the standpoint of, if someone's listening that has college students or adult children, just the importance of finding people that will walk alongside you during those tough seasons. Because I think a lot of people would hear this and everything you're saying would make total sense. Well, I need to put my dreams on hold. I need to put everything on hold. But you're like, you know what? This is going to be tough, but I'm going to go through it anyway. And in doing that and having the courage to step out, it's almost like what you needed, you were met with what you needed. Talk about that just from the standpoint of like stepping out, having the courage to step out, and then finding that every step of the way, what you needed was available to you. Yeah.
I think doing it afraid is like a big thing of like, I was afraid to do it, but it's like, it just takes that like step of just like, okay, I don't know what this looks like, but like, I'm just going to do it anyways, 'cause I know it'll be good for me. And I think like with the friendships that I made, like I know that they're going to be like lifelong friendships, and I found so much healing in relationship with them, and like finding like when my family didn't feel safe and secure, like I found that with my friends. And that was just such a that was so healing for me, especially like I was able to be honest with them about like what I was going through, and I was met with such like, I don't know, like it was just like so much comfort, and like,
Yeah.
and like they were just like in it with me, like literally from day one. Like one of my best friends, I met her on the first day, and we are best friends like to this day.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Shout out
JQ. But yeah, I don't think I could have done it like without them, and also without having the courage to be honest with them.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want, like, me telling them, I didn't want them to like view me or my family differently.
Sure. There's a lot of shame that comes along with like, well, how are people going to view us or receive us? Or,
Yeah, definitely. So I think like the honesty part of it, and like having the courage to like, and of course, like making sure that they're like trusted, close people in your life too. Yeah, that was just like a really like healing part for me.
Well, and I think too, like it's really comforting for me as a parent and for the other parents listening that we can trust that, like, we don't have to, I think for a parent, it's sometimes I feel like my whole goal is to keep you guys from experiencing pain and hardship. And I got to control that. And I got to, but it's like, you can trust that you're going to work your process, that you're going to get what you need, that God is kind, that our higher power is looking out for us and is going to give you what you need when you need it. And that's been true in our lives even before this.
Yeah.
But it's just a great reminder of like, oh, wait a minute. It's not all dependent on me to, give Grace everything she needs. Like, or our higher power, is like, I got this. Like, I've got friends for her. I've got a path for her. I got the right school for her. I mean, even the school environment has been great for you, know, and it's just a great reminder that in recovery, as we're taking steps as a family and we're all taking steps to get healthy, that no one is left out from getting what they need in this recovery process, and stories are different. I mean, some people work the recovery process and, for whatever reason, their families go different ways, or their process takes them different ways, or sometimes there's just been too much hurt or damage done and, whatever. But, for Valiant, for us, our mission, and Deneen will say this, it's bringing families back together. I mean, at the end of the day, and that's not always possible, but at the end of the day, if we can, that is our goal. Like, we want to help bring families back together. And I think you sharing part of your story is a great reminder that is possible if everyone is willing to do the work. It's totally possible. There's hope for every family out there if you do the work, and it's hard.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's so hard, but even hearing you tell the story now, it's just comforting to know that you had everything you need when you needed it. Not that it took the pain away. It wasn't about ignoring the pain, but you had everything you needed. You feel that to be true? Yeah,
definitely. And I think I knew, like, just our family being surrendered to the process of what it means to like recover our hearts,
Yeah.
Like,
talk about that for a minute. What does that mean for you?
For me, I think it was, when everything happened, it was just complete and utter heartbreak. Like, it was just like everything has shattered to pieces. And so there was a lot to recover.
Yep.
And so I think like this recovery process is just like part of just putting the pieces back together.
Sure.
That's how I kind of view it, of like finding that healing of like, okay, like let's recover my heart, my voice, my feelings.
I love that.
Stuff like that. So
what is on your side of things, what is the trust building process? What does that look like for us? So it's been over 3.5 years, but it's given us some time to recover and heal, but it's still pretty early. I mean, it still feels somewhat fresh.
Yeah.
We're getting some time and space away from it. Right. But it's, it doesn't take much to tap back into some of those old feelings. Like, it hasn't been that long. So for the people listening or watching that are worried, like, will I ever trust again? Will I ever regain their trust? What does that look like for you now?
Yeah. Like you mean in our relationship?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. I think it's slow.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely like it took time and it takes time. But I think it's the continual like showing up and doing what you say that you're going to do and like kind of proving yourself, you know, of like I am in recovery. I'm on this journey and I'm figuring things out, and it can be messy and that's okay, but just showing up in that of like, and I think for me that builds trust of like, okay, like he is doing what he said that he's going to do.
Right.
You know? And I remember early on there was, do you remember the car accident that I got in?
Of course.
Yeah. It's kind of funny how that happened. We got in a car accident me and my friends got in a car accident in October, I think, around that time in the fall, like after like my freshman year. Like, so like all this was going down, and I think you were starting to visit home again. And I remember like calling you and like getting in that car accident, and like it was such a big deal for me somehow because in that moment I was able to like lean on you in that moment. And that was just like, that was such a big deal to me because I thought you were a person I could never lean on again, you know? And so like, even though that was a really not good situation of me getting in a car accident, and it wasn't even that bad, but it just kind of shook me up because I hadn't really gotten in a car accident before. But it kind of showed me, it was like the first step of like, okay, like maybe like he showed up for me in that moment. Like, what if he shows up for me again, you know? And like, kind of like having, like trusting you and that you're doing the work, and also having the faith that like you are going to do what you said that you're going to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. In some ways it's not that it's easy, but it is simple. And I tell guys now that are early into treatment and they're worried about that, I'm like, man, just show up honest and do what you say you're going to do. And even like in respect boundaries, like if they say, hey, I don't want you a part of this, don't take it so personal where you force your, like, just say, okay, if that's what you need, you know, that's what we'll do. And I will say the trust building process has probably gone faster in some ways than what I expected. And I have the mentality that it's a lifetime process. Like, it's not like, okay, trust is built, we're good now. It's like, no, part of living in recovery. I mean, your mother and I just had this conversation this morning on some things that I need to re-engage in my recovery. It's not, you're not done. Like I'm in a lifetime of recovery and a lifetime of building trust and a lifetime of showing up and being honest. And I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes. I have made big mistakes in the last 3 years and times where I haven't shown up for you guys in the best way, but you guys see my heart, my honesty, and my, like, I'm going to continue to show up, and we're going to continue to build the trust. I'm curious, as you're talking, I just had this other thought. I know we're kind of off the script a little bit, but one thing that when guys go through treatment and recovery, one thing that comes up, or at least came up for me, was the shame of what was real. You know what I'm saying? Like, what was true and what was, you know, and then the shame comes in of like, man, was my whole life just a joke or a show, or was anything, like, as a daughter, how did you process through, like, you know, here's this, my dad is supposed to be the one that never hurts me, that protects me, that keeps me safe. You know, we've had a close relationship always. How did you reconcile, like, man, this person is not who I thought he was? Did you have those thoughts of like, do I even know who this person is? And how did you, and we've learned a lot about parts work with IFS through, like, there's parts of me that feel different things and you can honor those different parts. But I'm curious from your seat, How disorienting was it to be like, do I have to get to know this person all over again? Or did you even feel that way? Did it change the way that you even reflected on your childhood and all that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does. I think there is a mix of both. Like, I don't think by any means was like my childhood ruined or like
Right.
Just because of what happened in our family crisis that, well, everything's out the window. Because I remember having conversations with Mom of like, it's not all or nothing, you know, like it is like it's a mix of both of like, there were some really real and special moments and like, and we had like, there's great memories and like close relationship and stuff like that. But there's also like the mix of like dysfunctional, like just being a dysfunctional family, codependency and addiction and stuff like that. So yeah, I think yeah, it's definitely like a mix of both. And I think too, whenever you were talking, it made me think of how big of a deal it was for me whenever we FaceTimed or whenever we did a Zoom call after you read my impact letter.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that some. Yeah, let's go there.
And it was the first time I really talked to you like in a while. Like we didn't have any contact. And so it was a really big deal to me. And I was like watching for like the way that you were, you know, like I was looking for a difference in like, and I was also looking for what was the same, you know?
Okay.
And like, and I think just the way you were was just different, like on the Zoom call. And I was like, oh, thank God. Like, cause it's like, if you were the same, I would have been like,
yeah,
kind of freaked out.
Can you, this might be impossible, but can you describe the difference? Because I think for me, a lot of times when we go into treatment, there is a systematic breaking down of our, at least for me, there was, of my ego and my defenses. And so there was transformative work that was happening early in recovery. Even just the first couple of weeks for me was just getting me to a place where I would surrender to the process. Yeah. So some of it happens and I don't see it. So I'm not asking here like fishing for compliments. Yeah. I'm just curious as far as what did you experience? Like what was it? Because a lot of times it happens and I don't know. Like I don't necessarily know that felt that different.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think what I noticed was I remember there was always like this force about you of like, it's hard to describe, but it's just like almost like a forcefulness. And it's not even like that it was bad. But I noticed like a new like gentleness in you somehow of like, and I think that's a big deal for my personality because I tend to like, I can just fly under the radar. And I think it was a big deal for me to see like you weren't being super forceful about it. Like you weren't trying to like lead everything and like control the conversation. It was like both of us and the therapist that was there. Like it was like, I don't know. It was just like a good, like a newfound like give and take, I think. And like, the only word that I can find is like a gentleness. Yeah. And like I saw that you were surrendered and like I think that just changed. Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, for me, thanks for sharing that too. But for me, that there's definitely was a breaking of my will in like a healthy way that needed to happen of like, I don't have to try to control everybody and everything. And that's part of the work that we do at Valiant, especially in the first 30 days is you're just learning to not have to be in control of everything and not try to, codependently manage everyone else around you, and even trying to manage the therapist and in your treatment plan. And, you know, when do you get to use your phone? I mean, everything, you know, you almost go back to being a little kid again, where you're like, okay, I'm just going to get in the van when you tell me, and I'm going to go into the therapy room when you tell me. It's like, you know, I'm going to be on your schedule. And like, man, for some of us, we really bucked that. Like I really bucked that in the first little bit.
Yeah.
But then you get to the point where you actually start to find peace, and wait a minute, I can let go, and I don't have to be in charge of everything. I don't have to be in control. And man, that still is not my default. I mean, if I'm not doing well, if I'm not healthy, I will still get big and bow up. And like my default is not, but that's part of doing the ongoing work, is getting back to a place of rest and peace and surrender and all those things. Can we talk just a little bit about the impact letter? We don't talk about what you read it, but I think it's helpful for people to know that there is a process that Valiant helps us work, specifically with family, whether that's through a disclosure or whatever else. But there is a process. You're not out there just trying to navigate, how do I rebuild with kids? Like we work a very intentional, specific process. And part of that is the amends and impact letter process. And making amends is not just like, oh, hey, by the way, I'm sorry. It's like, and there's a big part of this as a living amends. Like we just, you know, the way you live is, but there is an actual like impact letter that you write, that all the kids wrote separately. And part of it is for me to feel and hear and experience the weight of the hurt. And so even before I make amends, it's like, hey, I need to sit with how this impacted Grace specifically, even different than the other kids. Talk about that process for you in writing that letter and what that was like.
Yeah. I definitely procrastinated that a little bit. Just cause it's just difficult to address the hurt that you feel, that I felt. But I really leaned on Mom. She was just like, she kind of helped me of like, don't hold anything back. Like anything that you are feeling, like just, you can put it in that letter and it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And I feel like that was a big deal to me, of like, regardless of like, cause me telling you how you've hurt me, like I was afraid that like, okay, well that's going to hurt him. And then that's just going to suck for me, cause I'm going to feel all kinds of guilt and shame and stuff like that. But like realizing that like I can tell him my hurt and it's going to be okay. Like that was like the biggest thing of like, I'm going to be okay if I tell him how I feel.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, cause you've always been the child that's wanted to kind of make peace.
Yeah.
Like, hey, it's okay. It's, you know, like, and even in your letter, there was still a lot of that. I mean, there was a lot of hope in your letter still. Like, here's what I hope for you. And here's what I, you know, and so it was, you know, but I think it was really healthy for you to kind of be able to lay it out there. And it was honestly great for me, because I needed to feel it. Like, and then the beauty of it is when we get our impact letters, we can then take it to our group. So I'm not alone in it. I can take it to the guys in my group in therapy. And I read them, all of y'all's letters, and just sat with it. And they didn't try to like make me feel better necessarily, or they didn't try to like fix it, but there was an attunement. There was like, man, I feel sadness with you, or I feel like carried it with me, and it was okay. Like I didn't have to fix it.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, Grace is hurting. Now let me go fix it. It was like, no, I can sit with this and I can feel it, and then that can actually lead me to, cause a lot of addicts like myself really struggle with empathy, you know, and it's one thing that we have to like sit with it for a while and allow ourselves to feel it before we go fix it. Because man, I need to feel the empathy. Like, oh man, this was rough. This was traumatic. This was really painful. And before I get to an amends or an apology, I really got to sit with that hurt, you know, and that was really, really important for me. I want to talk a little bit about just the impact it had on your identity and you as a person. How do you think walking through this crisis, through this season, has shaped you as a person, for better or for worse?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was really important that even though it was one of the most difficult things our family's ever been through, it shaped me in a way that like nothing could. I think especially like figuring out who I am, like apart from my family and like our like family dynamics, that was a huge thing for me to learn, of the person that I'm becoming. It helped me realize that I am a lot stronger than I think I am. And I think it helped me also realize like I have more courage than I think I do. And it just helped me see the ways that like I can overcome things.
Yeah.
You know?
That's awesome.
And of course, like this is an ongoing journey. Like this isn't like it's like the path of recovery. But yeah, I think it's like it's almost like it helped to like lift the curtain or like lift like the veil over the eye, like my eyes of like this is reality. Like this codependent dysfunctional way of living, like this doesn't have to be the way that our family or like I have to live anymore, you know, like in walking in that like in that freedom, in that hope. Cause I mean, even in that impact letter, like I had hope for our family and like I believed that. And so, and I trusted that we were surrendered like to the process of it. And we're still like learning and navigating everything. But I think for me, it was just like, I don't know, like it just grew me in ways that I couldn't have without it, you know?
Yeah. Which is kind of hard to explain to people who haven't been through it. Cause man, as a dad, husband, whatever, I mean, if there was any other way, I mean, I don't think I'll ever be able to say, man, I'm so glad that happened. Mostly because of the hurt it caused people that I love. And what's also true that I don't really know how to fully reconcile is I don't know how I get to where I'm at today without walking through some sort of pain and crisis, something that formed me and shaped me, or how Richard Rohr talks about being the second half of life, like that we're living in now, was such an eye-opening experience that I don't know what would have got my attention enough. And it took me walking through something like that. Again, I don't want anyone to hear me say that I'm glad it happened by any stretch.
Yeah, for sure.
But I also have to acknowledge that I don't know how we get to where we are today without some kind of something that exposes us to the pain of life, the realities of life, that wakes us up, that gets us out of the unhealthy, broken system, that puts us on this new trajectory, and where we're living with a tolerance for reality now, a tolerance for pain, a tolerance for like things happen and we can cope in healthy ways. We don't have to use things to hide and to escape our feelings. And it does make me grateful, and also grateful for, I mean, I don't know if you're willing to share, but a big part of what you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much that, because you were already wanting to do something, you know, along these lines, but I don't know how much you're willing to share just about how this situation has shaped kind of how you want to show up even vocationally and professionally with your life.
Yeah, definitely. I know we've talked about, the portable sanctuary of, I know Chip Dodd talks about that. And that's definitely part of like a huge part of what makes me want to do what I want to do, which is, I want to be a counselor for kids, in families, and I know I want to specialize in a couple of like other things too. But yeah, I think what I've been through in like what our family has gone through of like in the people that have walked with us through what we've been through, like I now want to be that for other people, specifically kids too, and like giving them the space and a voice and just a safe place and a secure place. Because I know like there were moments where we were going through what we were going through as a family and I didn't feel safe, or like I didn't feel that security, and I didn't feel like who's reaching for me like in this moment, like who actually cares to like sit with me and like let's figure this out, like let's find a path.
Yeah.
And I want to be that for kids of like I feel like I've always thought like I want to reach for the kids who feel unreachable. And so that's a big part of like what I want to do, of like, and I'm sure there's more to like learn and unpack about why I want to do what I want to do.
Sure.
Yeah, that's just like the heart behind it.
I love it. I love it. And if that's what you choose to do, I mean, you would be so great. I mean, you're so amazing at you're a great listener, but also you've got such wisdom, and you get that from your mom. I mean, just discernment and wisdom, and it's really beautiful to watch and see. And I'm curious as we kind of wrap up, and thanks by the way for sharing this. I mean, it's actually really helpful for me to like go back and hear and review. I know for me, it's easy for me just to like, bust off the rear view mirrors and pretend like the past doesn't exist. But man, it's so good for my recovery to go back and to kind of relive. And I even when I go back to Valiant and visit and work there, it's so good for me to be back. It's like sacred ground for me to be there and be like, man, this is where it's kind of where it all began, the second half of our life. But when you look back when you look at our family now, what feels different now versus before? What feels healthier? And it's okay. I'm not fishing for an answer. It's okay if it doesn't. Like, I want your honest take on how's our family different now than it was before August of 2022.
I think we're just willing to acknowledge the mess. Like, I think that it's like we're willing to talk about the ways that we are dysfunctional. Whereas like in the past, like I don't think we would have recognized it or like would have been willing to talk about it. So I think that's like kind of like the way that we're starting to grow, of like we're willing to like actually talk about how we're actually feeling and being honest about that, like sharing like what we need, and like just being honest with each other and just about like how we are dysfunctional. And honestly, like it is kind of funny, like before I thought like, oh my gosh, we're all like fine, like we're doing great. But now it's like, oh my gosh, we're such a mess. Like I feel like we're more of a mess now than we were before. But I think it's good because it's like, but you can see it, like you see where it is messy, and letting it be messy because like we're not getting it right all the time, like
willing to face and confront. Well, I'm trying to remember exactly. I'll botch it, but what Dr. Jake Smith, who was just on the podcast, we were doing a family session with him a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about the difference between a dysfunctional and a functional family. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And I forget, maybe you remember better than me exactly what he said, but basically dysfunctional family, the only difference is you're willing to embrace and address the dysfunction. Yeah. There's really no such thing as a functional family. Exactly. It's just the ones that are willing to actually do the work and basically embrace that we're dysfunctional. Did I get that right?
Yeah. That's the gist of
something like that. Close enough. How has our relationship changed in the last 3 years? Is it the same? Is it better? Is it worse? How is it different?
Yeah. It's definitely changed as I've gotten older and like I'm becoming an adult. We've kind of talked about like how like yes, I do need parents. That's not what I'm not saying.
Right.
I do need parents, but I need less of a parent and more of like a friend, or like more of like a guide, I think, of like helping to like lead the way, I think. And I think like that's what our relationship is becoming. And like you are a person that I can lean on. And it's like what I thought about you whenever like you were in treatment is like not what it was. Like you are a person I can trust and lean on. And like that's such a big deal, like with everything that our family has been through, you know, and like not taking that for granted.
Yeah.
And like, and I can be honest with you too about like how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Because I remember like we had a conversation whenever we were in Colorado, and like just had an honest conversation about like blind spots and like just like sharing my heart with you. And like that was a big deal of like, we're like, I'm so grateful that we're talking about this and he wants to talk about this. And like, it's really good.
Yeah.
And of course we're still like learning and figuring things out. And I feel like we have been saying throughout this episode, like it's a path and it's messy and we're figuring it out, but it is a good time of like growth.
Yeah. It's clunky, but this Chip says it's clunky is about as good as it gets. Like you know, and I'm grateful to be on this path. I'm grateful for you and just for your mercy and your forgiveness and your willingness to do the work. I mean, I know a lot of people that I've seen in treatment, you know, just don't have the gift of a family that is willing to do the work. And it's part of why I want to do this episode with you, because I want people to hear that, man, hope and restoration and reconciliation, all those things are possible. It is possible to have that. You know, and not that we're definitely not putting our family on any kind of pedestal or any kind of like, you know, man, we are just feel so fortunate to be where we are, and because there's a lot of people help carry us, you know, and a lot of people at Valiant help carry us through this season and become like family to us. Melissa and Uncle Dan and Peyton. I mean, just go, you mentioned Jill, just, you know, go down through the list of all the people who showed up for our family in huge ways that have become like family to us now. But I'm just so grateful for you and so glad that we're able to have this conversation and that our relationship gets to continue to grow. Like it's not like, you know, hopefully 3 years from now we could have this conversation and it feel even different. Yeah. And we're still doing that. But so grateful for you. We named you appropriately, Grace Abigail, my father's joy, and you are my joy for sure. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. Final word to families that are listening. Maybe it's a college student or it's parents of a college student that are walking through the dark night of the soul. Yeah. That's like, man, is there hope for me? What would you say as a final word? I think I would encourage to just show up however you need to, as long as it's honest. I think that's like the biggest thing of like, you can be like angry and like you can be afraid and you can be sad and like all the feelings. I think it's important, and I encourage to like show up in that and like trust that it's going to be okay. Because I think that's what I really needed to hear, of like someone just to sit with me and be like, it's okay. Like you are going to be okay. And like, and you can show up honest and like, it's not going to fall apart, you know? And like, that was like a big thing for me. And so I would encourage like, especially young adults and kids in college, like just show up however you need to, and like trust that like the I guess just trusting that the person that is doing the work in your life is like, they have the tools to like be okay with how you're feeling, as long as they're surrendered to the process too.